Hello everyone, and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to learn 21 essential English words that you'll hear all the time in the workplace. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, starting a new job, or simply want to improve your business English, this video is perfect for you. This is the Whispering Words English channel, and we'll go through each word with a clear explanation, and I'll connect them all together so they're easy to understand and remember. So get comfortable, and let's dive in. Every workplace has someone in charge, someone who keeps everything running smoothly and makes sure the team is heading in the right direction. That person is called a manager. A manager is a person who leads a team and is responsible for organizing and controlling work in a company or department. You've probably heard someone say, "Let me check with my manager." But here's something interesting: who actually hires the manager? Who creates the jobs in the first place? Well, that person or organization is called the employer. An employer is a person or company that hires people and provides them jobs. Think of the employer as the one who opens the door and says, "Welcome aboard, you're hired." Without employers, there would be no jobs. They're the ones who build the companies and create the opportunities. And the person who walks through that door, the one who gets hired and starts working, that person is called an employee. An employee is a person who works for a company or employer and receives payment for their work. So the relationship is simple: the employer hires, and the employee works. Now, when you start working as an employee, you're not going to be alone. You'll be surrounded by other people who are also doing their jobs. Those people are your colleagues. A colleague is a person you work with in the same company or organization. Your colleagues are the people you share your work life with. You brainstorm ideas together, solve problems together, and maybe even grab lunch together. Now, among all these colleagues, there's often one person whose main job is to help and support someone more senior. That person is called an assistant. An assistant is a person who helps and supports another employee, usually someone in a higher position like a manager or executive. You might hear people say, "Can you send that to my assistant?" Assistants play a really important role because they keep things organized and help busy leaders focus on the big picture. Now, apart from assistants, there's also someone in most teams whose job is to watch over the daily work and make sure everything is being done correctly. That person is the supervisor. A supervisor is a person who manages and checks employees' work. A supervisor is similar to a manager, but they tend to be more hands-on with the day-to-day tasks. They're the ones checking that quality is high, deadlines are being met, and the team is performing well. Now, there's one more person we should talk about, someone who's just starting out, still learning, and getting their very first real taste of professional life. That person is an intern. An intern is a student or beginner who works in a company to learn skills and gain experience. Internships are an amazing way to start your career. You get to observe, learn, and practice real skills in a real workplace. Many successful professionals started out as interns, so never underestimate that first step. Imagine you have a brilliant idea, something that could really improve the company. You can't just shout it out in a meeting, you need to put it together properly and present it for approval. What you create is called a proposal. A proposal is a plan, idea, or suggestion that is presented for approval. A proposal is your chance to shine. You explain your idea clearly, show why it matters, and try to convince others that it's worth doing. Now, once your proposal gets approved and everyone's excited, the next step is planning when everything will happen. For that, you need a schedule. A schedule is a plan that shows when tasks, meetings, or activities will happen. A good schedule keeps everyone on the same page. It tells you what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and who's responsible. But planning your time is only half the picture, you also need to plan your money. And that's where the next word comes in. It's called a budget. A budget is a plan that shows how money will be spent or managed over a certain period. Whether it's a company budget for a big project or your own personal budget for the month, it's all about knowing where your money is going and making sure you don't spend more than you have. So now you've got your proposal, your schedule, and your budget already. It's time to share everything with your team, your boss, or maybe even a client. How do you do that? You give a presentation. A presentation shows and explains ideas, information, or a project to an audience. Presentations are everywhere in the business world. It's all about communicating your ideas clearly and confidently. And once a project is moving forward or is finished, people will need to be updated on how things are going. That's when you write a report. A report is a document that provides information or results about a task, project, or situation. Reports help everyone stay informed. They show what's been done, what's working, and what might need to change. Now, once your report is out there, people will naturally want to share their thoughts about your work. And those thoughts are called feedback. Feedback means comments, opinions, or suggestions about someone's work or performance to help them improve. Feedback can be positive, like great job on that project, or it can be constructive, like maybe try a different approach next time. Now, throughout all of this work, writing proposals, managing budgets, creating reports, you'll often need a tool to organize numbers and data neatly. That tool is called a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is a digital table used to organize, calculate, and analyze data. If you've ever used Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, then you've already worked with a spreadsheet. There's always one critical thing you need to keep in mind, and that's the deadline. A deadline is the final time or date by which something must be finished. Deadlines keep us focused and motivated. When you know something is due on Friday, you work harder to get it done. Missing a deadline can cause real problems, so always plan ahead and manage your time wisely. Now, in many jobs, especially in retail, healthcare, and hospitality, you don't just work 9 to 5. Instead, you work in shifts. A shift is a scheduled period when an employee is expected to work. For example, you might work the morning shift from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, or the night shift from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. Shifts help companies keep running around the clock. But sometimes your shift ends and there's still work to be done. Your boss might ask you to stay a bit longer, and that extra time is called overtime. Overtime is extra working time beyond your normal or contracted hours. So if your shift is 8 hours and you work 10, those extra 2 hours are overtime. But of course, nobody can work all the time. Everyone needs a break, a chance to rest, travel, or take care of personal matters. That's called leave. Leave is approved time away from work when you are not required to do your job. There are different types of leave: annual leave for holidays, sick leave when you're not feeling well, and parental leave when you have a new baby. Alright, we've covered the people, the tasks, and the working hours. Now let's zoom out and look at how a company is actually structured. Inside every large company, people are grouped into different sections based on what they do. Each of these sections is called a department. A department is a division or section inside a company or organization where people work on a specific type of job. For example, the marketing department handles advertising and promotion, and the finance department manages money and budgets. Departments help keep a company organized so that everyone knows their role. Now, all these departments are usually managed and controlled from one central location, and that place is called the head office. The head office is the primary location of a company that controls and manages all other offices. If a company has branches in different cities or countries, the head office is where the big decisions are made. It's basically the brain of the whole operation. And to keep everything running smoothly across all departments and offices, companies rely heavily on something called documentation. Documentation is all written or recorded information used to explain, support, or keep track of work, processes, or decisions. Documentation can include reports, guides, and manuals. Good documentation is incredibly important because it makes sure that knowledge is shared, mistakes are avoided, and everyone has access to the information they need. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. These words are going to help you feel so much more confident in any English-speaking work environment. Try using them in sentences, practice them with a friend, and before you know it, they'll become a natural part of your vocabulary. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.